Welcome everybody! The moment is finally come for me to change fins. I love my old Mares Plana Avanti, but they are all broken and they even got shorter and changed shape completely, so they don't push as much as they used to do. I'm gonna have to dispose of them. Probably I'm gonna build a little altar in my workshop and hang them over there and cry at night thinking about all the beautiful moments we spent together. Anyway, time to move on. Today I will show you how I choose and test fins based on how I need to use them. Now there is no perfect fin, so we need to find a good compromise to reach our goals. The one I'm going to show you today are the Bonassi Mobula. Bonassi and I are friends since 2007. They also sponsor my record in 2023, and I use a bunch of their equipment. Now I'm using them since a few days, and we are going to see how they work underwater to do what I need to do. Let's start with the main features of a fin. We are going to talk about the materials, the stiffness, the length, and the buoyancy. Let's start with the materials, so we want to consider the durability of the fin. The fins for scuba diving are made of plastic, rubber, or usually a combination of both. The plastic is light and very flexible, but it can break if we fold it too much, where the rubber instead is heavier and stiffer and nearly unbreakable. Let's talk about the stiffness now, so how hard the blade is. A stiff blade is going to push a lot of water, but it's going to require a lot of muscles, a lot of energy. So if you're not used to it, you can get really tired and even have cramps. Now, a soft blade, on the other hand, is going to be very easy and relaxing to use, but you're not really going to go anywhere, okay? You're going to be in the water kicking, doing like this, you know, and you're still going to be there. You didn't move. It's fairly frustrating, honestly, so you really have to take a decision here. Let's see the length now. A long fin is going to create more propulsion, but it's going to be more difficult to maneuver when we want to reposition the feet for the next kick. Of course, it's longer, it's bigger, it's more difficult. Now, a shorter fin instead is going to be easier to maneuver, to move your feet around, but of course, because of a lesser surface of the blade, it's going to push less water. The last thing we want to see is the buoyancy, which is going to affect our trim control. A fin that is very negative is usually better for divers with a dry suit because they want to keep the leg down. If instead you dive with a wetsuit, you might prefer a fin that is almost neutral. Now we are going to see what I need to do with the fins underwater. I must be able to swim fast or against the flow or current. I must be able to push a big amount of tanks for a long period of time. I must be able to maneuver effectively when I do precision swimming, and I also need to keep my legs from sinking when wearing a wetsuit. This means that my ideal fin must be medium length, medium stiffness, and almost neutral. The Mobula seems to fit my requirements. It's a little bit longer and a little bit harder than the fins I had before, which means that I'm gonna have to trade maneuverability for more power. Now, we're gonna test it to see if it is worth it. Today with us there is Alonso, our beautiful cenote and cave guide. Now, he's gonna help me to test how fast this thing can go, how maneuverable they are, and also if they're able to push a big mass with a lot of displacement. Because I already did a bunch of videos where I lift and push stages around, today I'm gonna push something else. Now, before Alonso you change the mind about all the shit that I ask you to do underwater, let's go diving and let's have fun. this is the verdict. They kick like a mule. I'm very happy because they are more powerful than my old Mares. They are similar in performance to the old Mares Avanti 4 because the new generation of Avanti 4, Avanti 4 Plus, Plus XL, all these ones, they are really soft and they don't push enough. These ones are a little bit more difficult to maneuver than my old fins because of course they are longer, but the fact that they are more powerful, I really feel it when I have to push something like stages or this guy for a while, okay? So it's a good trade. There are a couple of things only that I'm not crazy about. Number one is the fluttering of the tips of the fins, because this fin is very hard in the first half of the blade and the second half is much softer. So if you kick abruptly, you're gonna feel this movement transmitting to your foot and you're gonna lose a little bit of efficiency. But honestly, if you just swim slowly or even fast but harmonically, you're not gonna feel that. And also the soft tip helps to reduce silting up the sediment when you kick close to the floor. The second thing I'm not crazy about is the handle on the spring. Now, most fins with the spring and the bungee have a handle here, so this problem is not just about these fins, it's a problem of the handle in general, which always gets stuck on the ceiling in the restrictions. So I'm definitely gonna remove this and I'm gonna use it just with a spring or with a bungee, with nothing else. That said, yeah, they're very powerful. They're not the most powerful, but they're good enough for what I have to do. I'm gonna keep using them, and that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching us, and we'll see you next time. Bonaffi. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Yeah, of course. What else can you answer? Anyway, because this is gonna... Ok, no, una mierda. Cortalo, lo hago otra vez.